Like other Game of Thrones fans, we find connecting characters with similar goals and spirits to be almost like a game. Alicent isn't Cersei, Rhaenyra isn't Daenerys, Viserys isn't Ned Stark, Daemon isn't Jaime Lannister, and Otto is like the Littlefinger of the Tywin Lannister kind. Is calling Otto Hightower a deceiving, scheming, power-hungry man too much? More importantly, does his behavior mean he can't be trusted? Today, we're going to look at why Otto Hightower is like a literal snake that's only doing what's best for him. Let's dive right in. Why Otto Hightower is like Tywin. Before seeing Otto in the House of the Dragon, we had no idea how similar all the hands are when it comes to their goals. He's a villain in the truest meaning of the word, much like Tywin, i.e. relentless. Tywin could hardly stand Cersei or Tyrion, but he seemed to love Jaime. In all honesty, Littlefinger wanted to be both, and yet he was always one step behind. The books portray Sir Otto Hightower as a mysterious character just like in the TV series. While everyone else is going, he's already returned, with the weak King Viserys in nearly total control. He's cold, organized, methodical, and cunning. The privilege of blood relations, which gave his two enemies, Rhaenyra and Daemon, the upper hand, was something Otto lacked, so he carefully placed his daughter next to the princess and then the king, who had just lost his wife. He won the game because he kept playing while the other players assumed that everything was normal. Otto's elaborate plan. Otto had started to worry about the future even before Queen Aemma's death, which happened without giving Viserys an heir. Otto knew that House Hightower would have been in trouble, and Daemon or somebody else would be the heir if he didn't do something about it. So he strategically placed Alicent as the new queen right away, but he may have sped up the process when he realized that Rhaenyra and Daemon both understood him and could see him for the snake he is. As of last Sunday's episode, Alicent has already delivered the long-awaited son and is already expecting another kid. She and Otto start to put pressure on the king to stick to the custom of giving the throne to the son and never a woman, because that's what Otto's plan was all about. Unfortunately for him, Viserys resisted. Otto knows he'll be sacked from his job soon. Some fan theories claim that this was Rhaenyra's plan all along, while others believe that the king grew tired of the constant need to appoint Aegon II as his heir. What do the books say? In the books, in spite of Viserys I's last will, which named Rhaenyra as his successor, Otto reclaims his position as Hand of the King after the mysterious death of his replacement, Lord Lionel Strong, and serves in that capacity until Viserys' death. Otto also plays a key role in the crowning of Viserys I's eldest grandson, King Aegon II, the purest form of a coup. Let's be real. If Aegon II were to become king, is there any question that he wouldn't want his grandfather as the Hand? Otto Hightower will probably rule Westeros while Aegon holds the throne. Aegon may go by the Targaryen name during this time when the Dance of the Dragons is just getting started, but he's actually green and of Hightower blood, so in the end, every Hightower house will command more power than ever before. Otto Hightower's life story is incredibly impressive because he has successfully brought his bloodline into the Targaryens. Otto will eventually be replaced by other villains, but for the time being, no one is taking the villain crown off of him. Let's look at some more contestants for the title of Westeros' worst citizen, though. Could Daemon be worse than Otto? Daemon banished himself last week after spreading fear throughout King's Landing. 6 months later, he claimed the throne at Dragonstone, which actually belonged to his niece, Rhaenyra, the legitimate successor of the kingdom, not him. As if Daemon calling a dead child king for a day wasn't awful enough, he grabbed the dragon's egg that was supposed to be in the cradle next to Viserys' son Baelor. Then, in an effort to provoke Viserys into a conflict, he made up both his engagement and his future wife being pregnant. He even sent out the wedding invitations with just a 2-day notice, which is downright disrespectful. He even keeps the lie a secret from Mysaria, his made-up future wife. She claims that as a sex worker, she took precautions to ensure that she could never become pregnant a long time ago. Daemon apparently never checked. Worst of all, when Rhaenyra arrives on her dragon demanding the egg, Daemon simply hands it to her. What's that all about? Is he so bored that he's deliberately picking a fight just for giggles? Will he do this every week? What do you think? Otto Hightower is bad, but could Daemon be worse? Let us know in the comments below. Let's face it, Daemon is pretty awful, but that doesn't mean the rest of this cast should be excused. Overall, we sympathize with Viserys since he's been pushed to do horrible things to escape far worse consequences, but we do believe that his love for his brother drives him to blind to the threat that Daemon poses. Is Viserys an accessory to Daemon's crimes? Does it ever truly work to attempt to put an ambitious hothead on the back burner? Daemon would have been exterminated long ago by a person who was genuinely merciless like Cersei Lannister. Also, a smart person would have sent him on a dangerous conquest to help satisfy his craving for bloodshed and glory and, as a bonus, hopefully succeed in having him killed. As it stands, Viserys orders his brothers to marry a woman he resents in a territory he absolutely hates, and then allows him to patrol the city like a glorified police chief, equipped with an army that's loyal to him. It's a recipe for disaster. Viserys isn't a horrible person, but he fills a job that needs someone who is the exact opposite of nice. Although everyone loves a good king, it looks like the rulers of Westeros can't afford the luxury of decency. But it's Viserys' passivity, not his kindness, that's the problem. Instead of displaying strength to protect the peace, as both Corlys and Rhaenyra suggest, he appears to respond to the crab feeder's acts of aggression by doing nothing. What gives Viserys? Has all his testosterone gone on vacation? In an effort to have a son, he even declares Rhaenyra the heir, but only after sacrificing his own wife. He does this more to frustrate his brother than to challenge the patriarchal system, even though as a father of a teen, you would probably understand that aspect, because he doesn't even have the guts to speak to his 15-year-old daughter. The Targaryen dynasty's downfall will be a major theme of this series, and we're sure there will be more evil to come, but his lack of moral fiber makes him impossible to root for and, at times, even painful to watch. And then there's the issue of his impromptu engagement to Alicent Hightower, which he pulls off the top of his head in an obvious attempt to foil Corlys' plans, without thinking to tell her, or her father, who is his most trusted advisor. He pulls back at the thought of marrying Corlys' 12-year-old daughter, but 15-year-olds are fair game? We seriously doubt that Westeros has a legal age for marriage, but as a teen would say, it's a little sus, the sick idea of marrying off a 12-year-old. To quote the Big Lebowski, 12-year-olds, dude! Are Corlys and Rhaenys the worst for giving up Lady Laena, their preteen daughter, in order to unite the oldest and most powerful households in the realm and put an end to rumors about the stability of Viserys' succession? Corlys makes a compelling political case. But, ew. It doesn't really help that Rhaenys has promised Laena that she won't have to have sex with Viserys until she's a ripe old age of 14. Our conclusion is that they're horrible parents because who does that? We agree that they're pretty terrible, but you could still argue that they're acting in the daughter's best interests when Rhaenys informs Rhaenyra of the reality of the situation, that the nobles of Westeros would never accept a female monarch. Rhaenyra believes she can make a difference in the world, but Rhaenys has already given up on that idea. Is Rhaenys underselling herself? And will Rhaenyra succeed where her second cousin failed? Flying Syrax to Dragonstone to settle Daemon's threat was definitely a queen move by Rhaenyra, though. He holds command over her castle, announces his marriage to his new bride, whom he tries to pretend is expecting a child, and then steals a dragon egg for the fake kid she's supposed to be carrying. Rhaenyra shows up, pushes aside the soldiers who are about to fight Daemon over all of this, and demands to know why he doesn't just execute her if he has such a problem with her rise to power. Our best bet is that he'll try to marry her instead. They adore their incest, the Targaryens. Rhaenys and Corlys, and more importantly, their kids, will be in trouble if this happens. In contrast to Viserys, Daemon won't think twice before destroying any possible rivals. So, even if audiences and Viserys himself find the idea of marrying off a young girl to an elderly man revolting, perhaps her parents believe that it's the best way to keep their daughters safe. We believe that Otto Hightower, the other dad, could have been worse for shoving his daughter into Viserys' arms. Why Otto Hightower is the absolute worst. We didn't forget about Otto. Don't worry, because he was acting a bit pimpy last week when he suggested his daughter should see the Sad King in his chambers. When she pushed him for clarification, he didn't exactly say no, but he definitely took his time. He has good reasons for advising the king to turn down Corlys' offer, but you also have to wonder if he's paving the way for Alicent, since he knows the king will consult her for counsel, especially over how to approach his daughter, even if it would be a stretch to argue that Viserys saw what would happen. Otto may be a schemer, but he's no Peter Baelish and doesn't look surprised when Viserys makes his unexpected announcement. Viserys marrying his Hand's young daughter doesn't exactly seem like the best move for the realm, let alone degrading his most important ally in front of the entire small council. But Otto seems to know him well enough to take advantage of the man's loneliness and Alicent's kind nature. Even while it's not the worst marriage anyone in Westeros has ever been forced into, you have to admit that it's still really gross. It's obvious that Otto orchestrates the king's life in more ways than just those linked to his monarchy. Remember how during the tournament, the messenger who came to warn the queen's labor was in trouble first talked to Otto, not Viserys? Otto doesn't need to instruct Alicent to approach Viserys since he knows that she's unable to do that, and that Viserys would find this offensive while he's grieving. Otto understands that Viserys is weak, that they both have soft hearts, and that this will cause them to become close. Also, his behavior shows his lack of credibility by being motivated only by a lust for power. We're shocked that he wants to match his adolescent daughter with a man who's far older than she is. He's forcing her into a viper's den by marrying her off to a man who is unable to defend her. Otto probably believes he can use this to enhance his own authority, but he's not a young man, so what will happen to her after he's gone? Rhaenyra can look after herself. But Alicent is no queen like Sansa from GOT. Let us know in the comments what you think will happen next. Otto's short-term goals are totally selfish, so we believe he's even worse than the couple wanting to wed their tween to Viserys. He is, hands down, the worst person in Westeros and someone who shouldn't be trusted. And that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Till then, we'll see you next time.